Hey guys, what's up? So, it's been a while since I've done a video, but I want to just get right into it as if I never left, even though I did. But things have been rough, and I don't really want to get into that. I just want to get into the video and try to continue stuff. I wanted to actually do something of a book review, kind of not, because a little while ago, got my hands on a book for continuing my videos on, Chinese martial arts history and stuff like that, and trying to come up with some better videos and better material for my martial arts myths series. And the book that I got my hands on is this one right here. Light shining. Hope you guys can see that. It's Jingwu, the School That Transformed Kung Fu. It was written by the same duo that made the book on Chinese martial arts manuals, and which, again, that's a really good book if you guys haven't picked it up yet. This one is written with the same type of integrity and the same type of commitment to research that was put in that last book. And oh man, I actually got to learn a few new things about Chinese martial arts, the history of it anyway, that I didn't know yet. Some stuff I did know, some other stuff I had no clue. And it's, for such a little book, 'cause it's not much to it, like, 146 about pages before you get in, no, 148 pages before you get into the appendix, the index. But what is in here is a decent amount of information, some really good information on the Jingwu school. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what the Jingwu school is, and I'd be very surprised if you knew anything about martial arts and didn't know about the Jingwu school. It basically is a really famous Chinese Kung Fu school that pretty much was started during the Republican era of China. And it became very famous basically for promoting the development and the learning of Chinese martial arts, as well as pushing on the tenets of Chinese nationalism. You kind of get a sense of that if you've ever seen any of those, the movie that propelled Bruce Lee to fame, Chinese, we know it here as the Chinese Connection in the States. Other people know it as Fist of Fury, which was the original name. Was supposed to be about, the legend of Zhen and the him trying to get revenge for his master Huo Yunjia, who was supposedly poisoned by the Japanese. And Huo Yunjia was one of the main instructors at the Jingwu school and the struggles that they went through. In fact, the Jingwu school has been, the subject of a number of different movies that some famous stars have played, famous characters for, particularly the Chen Zhen character, who, to be honest, it's not really known whether that guy existed or not, or whether he got revenge or not, and any of that. But that's something for a completely different video. But yeah, this is about the actual school and what the school actually did. And it turns out that the Jingwu school is responsible for so much of what we know or expect out of Kung Fu schools today. They pretty much changed the game and set in stone a lot of the things that people nowadays take for granted when they go to a Kung Fu school, or what they expect out of a Chinese martial arts school. It really is amazing how much they changed this one particular school. This is not to say that there weren't other organizations trying to do the same thing, but these guys really changed a lot. Like the concept, for instance, that anybody can walk into a school and pay money and learn something there. These guys started that because before, the teacher would, I don't know if I'm going to pick you or not, and I got secret techniques I don't want to pass on. These guys killed all that. The idea that you can learn martial arts from a book and having a library of different martial arts to help you further your training, these guys pioneered that. Children and women's martial arts programs, these guys started that. Freaking videos to help people learn martial arts, like filming themselves doing the routines for other people to follow along. These guys started that. It's really amazing just how much stuff these guys, pioneered. They had like freaking diploma programs for people who had been learning in their stuff for a number of years, like signed by the instructor saying that this guy has been trained so and so in such martial arts. They standardized a lot of stuff. They had tests. They had promotions. They introduced a lot of Western stuff into Chinese martial arts because they were trying to modernize the learning of Chinese martial arts. Having an emphasis on hygiene, on cleanliness, coming up with a scientific approach to training, using Western weightlifting techniques. These guys brought a lot of that into the what was considered traditional training there. And this book goes into all that and how they did it and why they did it and the mentality that they had at the time. So if any of you guys are really, really interested in learning a little bit more about that time period of history that they popped up in, I really suggest you pick this particular book up. It's definitely going to help me to put out a few more videos on, how Chinese martial arts developed, particularly during the Republican era. Like, these guys really helped to kickstart a lot of what was going on during that time. Again, they were not the only organization that helped to kind of push things along and help to modernize things, but they were a huge influence. A major influence. I think that's probably why, so many movies were made about these guys later on and about Huo Yunjia. And, I mean, this goes into the school. It also goes into Huo Yunjia himself and about all the myths that happened to surround the guy and what he may or may not have done while he was alive. The book gets into it. It gets into the martial art that he taught there. It gets into the school's programs. And that's another thing I found really interesting. The fact that Jingwu wasn't just all about Chinese martial arts. It was pretty much about, promoting, the Chinese people and their health, period. Like the whole thing about, you can learn Kung Fu for your health. Again, these guys pushed that because it was that whole Republican era theme of strengthening the people and making them healthy and strong and being able to stand up to anybody else. These guys were at the forefront of that, trying to push that onto the public. They were even trying to change the notions that people had about martial arts. Like, remember I pointed out that before, people didn't really have, especially like just before the Republican time period, people really didn't have a high opinion of martial artists and martial arts, especially after the Boxer Rebellion hit, and the people who were responsible for doing that. They looked at all these martial artists as a bunch of backwards, unwashed people with, no real education and no real morals, just a bunch of violent idiots who for all their bluster, couldn't even fight off, the foreign invaders. So they're like, yeah, what good is martial arts if you end up being like that? So they really didn't have a high opinion. And these guys changed that. They turned that around. They were like, no, educated people can learn martial arts. It is something to aspire for. They really did a lot to change that image and help to kind of perpetuate, the modern, scholarly, educated man who also knows how to defend himself. And is healthy and and strong and all that sort of thing. Sort of like, they were kind of they also were trying to push the image of the citizen soldier as well. I was going into the fact that it wasn't just martial arts that these guys were promoting. They were also doing military training. I kid you not. There's stuff in here about like the military programs that they were pushing. There was stuff on music, they were having things on calligraphy, learning the classics. It was a really ambitious organization that that this ended up being. And it's a little bit of a shame that it's focused primarily on, when people think of Jingwu, they think primarily about martial arts, but it looks they did more than just martial arts. Though even if you were just going to focus on that, just what they did for it is quite amazing. Especially when you consider that so much of what they've done has influenced the way that Chinese martial arts are taught today. It's so many schools, especially in the Western world, not even just the Western world, like just period. You go on the typical school, the fact that you can walk in and just walk in and pay your dues and you will learn. Having standardized uniforms, everyone learning the same material together. Again, like I said, the children's programs, having a program, to excite the kids, to get them interested in learning it. And again, they were also very egalitarian. That before, traditional Chinese, a woman learning martial arts, what the, no. Jingwu had no problem with that. They were promoting that, saying, yeah, women should learn this stuff also. Like, they had their own uniforms. They were, training just as hard as the men were. Really good book to learn about this particular school and the period of history in which they learned in, and learning about the Western influences that got woven into their curriculum, as well as, of course, the Chinese influences, and what exactly Jingwu School was actually trying to accomplish. The book is pretty cheap. I was able to pick this up at a really good price. You guys can pretty much pick this up at any decent book retail. Though I would like to state that, if you can, try to pick this up at Plum Publications. That's my favorite place to go to whenever I'm looking for, martial arts materials in terms of books, videos, stuff like that. They deal primarily with Chinese martial arts, that particular website. And it's all mostly just, books and videos and stuff. And it's everything from training manuals to, historical stuff, articles, essays, things like that. Really good site. That's where I recommend picking this up from. But, you can pick this up, anywhere else as well if you happen to find it at a cheap price. So just wanted to make a quick video on that, on this book, and just talk a little bit about what's in there and many of the things that they were, working on, what the school was particularly doing. I will probably do a few more videos on the material that's in here, but I don't want to do too much because I really would like you guys to pick this up for yourselves, because this really, if you're interested in this sort of thing anyway. So yeah, that's it. More videos coming soon. Sorry for the absence. I'm going to try my best to do more, though I can't guarantee there's going to be much more down the line. Things have been kind of hard. So yeah, that's also the reason why I'm asking for some support as well, because I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. But I'm going to try my best to keep doing things as much as I can, and I wanted to get more of this type of stuff out there. So yeah, more videos coming soon. Hopefully more sword stuff coming soon. Catch you guys later.